Welcome to story time. Enjoy with me. The Water of Wanting by Brennan Frank.
Jean had a lot to do if he was going to make WOW work successfully. He wanted WOW that would make people want to eat or drink some things, but not others. At the same time, he didn't want WOW to make people lose control of their appetites. Jean-Pascal was a careful man. Jean gave his mice a choice of 2 drinks. One drink had WOW in it, and the other didn't. The mice still drank from the water with WOW in it, and left the other drink alone. This time, however, they only drank when they were thirsty. They also ate their food too, just like normal hungry mice. At last, the WOW was successful. Jean looked at his mice and thought hard. After some time, Jean knocked on the door of Charles's office. He had the results of all his work with WOW, and he was ready to tell Charles about them. Charles was very pleased to see him. In a few moments, they were chatting over a coffee, talking about their families and their holiday plans. But soon the chat was over. Charles moved closer towards Jean and asked the question he had been waiting to ask. "Have you done it, Jean? Have you finished making WOW?" "Yes, I have, Charles," Jean replied. "I've completed everything." "That's wonderful," Charles said. "I've been really excited about this. And hey, I'm not the only one. Oh no. But come on, Jean, tell me everything. Just in a few words, give me an idea. Well?" Jean looked a little uncomfortable, but he lifted up his eyes and looked into Charles's worried face and began. WOW is a liquid which you can't see and you can't smell. A liquid which, in itself, is completely harmless. Jean could see Charles nodding his head and smiling widely. In carefully measured amounts, it can make a person prefer one kind of food or drink over another. "Hey, Jean!" Charles cried out. "That's brilliant! Just what we wanted." "I haven't finished, Charles." Charles apologized, still nodding his head, and Jean continued. "However, if these amounts are exceeded, if we put too much WOW into a product, a person can lose control over their appetite for the product. In the worst cases, people will want the product so much that it becomes really dangerous. It could even kill them. The person will eat or drink until they are dead. The person has to have the product. They have no choice." For a moment, Charles had stopped smiling. "So, what you're saying is, if we add too much WOW to something, it's going to make it dangerous." "That's right." "But," Charles continued, "if the amounts are right, we can use WOW safely, right?" "Well, yes, but—" "No problem then," Charles laughed. "I'm sure it'll be perfectly okay, Jean. I'll make sure everybody understands." "No, Charles," Jean said, more impatiently this time. "Let me explain. I've been doing some thinking about this lately." "You certainly have, Mr. Clever," said Charles. "And it's about time the company recognized your achievement. You've made something amazing. We're going to make millions on this one, Jean. Millions." "Charles," Jean raised his voice, "let me explain more clearly. WOW is dangerous. If it's used in the wrong amounts, it can make people crazy. Crazy with a need for anything they eat or drink. And then they won't want to eat or drink anything else at all. Look, Charles, even if it is used in safe amounts, It gives one product an unfair advantage over another. I mean, shouldn't one apple pie sell better than another because it's a better apple pie, and not because we've put some clever additive into it? No, I'm not sure that it should be used at all, even in safe amounts. Now, Jean, just hold on a minute. No, Charles, Jean shouted. Imagine if somebody wanted to use wow as a weapon, as something to hurt people. Imagine if somebody put it into a city's water supply. People would be just like my mice. They would die from drinking too much water. Well, Charles replied, more calmly now. I see your point now, Jean. We have to be careful with these things. At first, Jean said, I was excited by the idea of helping people to eat good food. There are too many fat people these days. I wanted to help with the problems. Oh, yes, Charles said. Of course. Yes, well, Jean replied as he touched the scar on his cheek. I realize now that I was playing with fire. It'll be better if the research is put away and forgotten about. It's too dangerous and just too wrong. You can see that now, can't you, Charles? Yes, I can see that, Jean, Charles said quietly. Look, leave this with me. I'll speak to our top people and explain. After all, we can't ask our customers to buy something that's dangerous, can we? No, you did the right thing, Jean. You can't be too careful about these things. I'm pleased you understand, Charles, said Jean. I feel a lot better about things now. Quite right, Jean, said Charles. Listen, why don't you take the next few weeks off? You and your family could have a good, long holiday. You need a rest, and you've earned it. Thank you, Charles. I think I will. Jean turned to go. Oh, and, Jean? Yes, Charles? Could you just leave all your wow work with me before you go? I'll see that it's all taken care of. 1 year later. Katya was feeling very happy. She and Jean had had 2 long holidays over the last year, one in Brazil and one in Ireland. Little Alain had really loved them, and Jean was working on some interesting new research into making petrol safer and cleaner. Jean liked doing work that helped people. This new research was his biggest interest at the moment. Alain was healthier and happier. He was even eating green vegetables. Maybe the fresh air at the Irish beaches had helped. In any case, Katya had discovered some new vegetables in packets which Alain seemed to be very happy with. In fact, he often asked for more. Katya looked at Alain sleeping happily in the early afternoon. She took out her notebook computer. She was sure she could start work on her book now. But first she decided she would have some lunch. She had never really liked hamburgers, but she had discovered some recently that were really nice. They were her favorite lunch now. She should watch her weight, really, but... Oh, one more burger wouldn't hurt, would it? Just one more.
The end.